लाइन पर मौजूद तमाम साथियों के हुजूर में या अली मदद का नजराना कबूल हो। रियाज साहब आप लाइन पर हैं?
जी याली मदद।
मौला अली मदद, welcome to our platform. We're very excited to hear about Book of Healing, and the chapter is one of my favorite. And inshallah, a lot of people will enjoy this wonderful chapter.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Ali Allah, Ya Khudawan, please help all of us, Ya Khudawan, to acquire your spiritual knowledge. Help us, Mawla, Ya Khudawan. We are so weak spiritually and intellectually, Ya Khudawan. We are yearning for your Zahiri, Batini, Nurani Didar, luminous Didar. Ya Khudawan, Ya Mawla, help us in our spiritual, intellectual, and worldly lives. Ya Khudawan, resolve all the difficulties of all the Ismaili Jamaat and the humanity around the world. Ya Mawla, Ya Khudawan, keep us in your shadow, in your rahmat, in your aman, in your panah. Ya Khudawan, help our children and the young generation in the Jamaat to have more interest for gaining spiritual knowledge, Hakikati knowledge, and make all of us regular in our spiritual obligations, that's also Krit and Ibadat. And Ya Mawla, help us to always gain barakah and the bounties of Jamaat Khana. Ya Khudawan, always engage us in your remembrance, in your zikr, in your divine remembrance. Ya Mawla, please accept our humble supplication and our prayers and Girya Huzari in your huzur through the presence of all the good souls present on this Zoom meeting, on this virtual call tonight. Ya Mawla, through their presence, through their good souls. Ya Khudawan, bless all of us with your special rahmat and blessings, Khudawan. मुश्किल आसान या अली, मदद रसान या अली, 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 मुश्किल आसान या अली, मदद रसान या अली. ला इलाहा इल्ला अंता सुब्हानका इन्नी मिनज़ ज़ालिमीन. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. Pana ya Mawla, Aman ya Mawla, 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 Pana ya Mawla, Aman ya Mawla. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. 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 اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. 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 Ya Khudavan, Ya Maula Meherban, all those souls who reached in your huzur, Ya Maula, all the Ruhanis, Ya Maula, bless all the Ruhanis with your Nurani Didar, Maula, forgive all their shortcomings, Maula. And Ya Maula, increase their ranks, Khudavan, bless them, bless all those Ruhanis with subtle body, Maula, with subtle body, with astral body, Khudavan. Nurani Badan, Ya Maula, please accept our humble supplication and Giriya Huzari in your huzur. Allahumma laka sujudi wa tawati, shukran lillah, walhamdulillah, shukran lillah, walhamdulillah. Yali Madad, everyone. Very nice to be here, and I'm very excited to share some of my thoughts on this particular article, Cure of False Fear by Professor Dr. Allama Nasiruddin Nasir Hunzai Sahib. And as you know that this article is from a Book of Healing. And this article is, of course, very interesting for all of us, and also for those who are in the health profession. And interestingly, a couple of years ago, I'm just trying to recall that a person name, it just skipped from my mind. And she has used this book, a Book of Healing, with her patients. I believe it was in within the US, but I couldn't recall the city. But she has used, and I heard her speech also, what were some of her experiences about how she applied some of the principles from this particular book, Book of Healing by Dr. Lama Sahib. And particularly, she has used this topic about music also, that how music impacts for those patients who are going through different kind of illness and diseases. So, inshallah, when I will come across with her speech, I will definitely share with that. So another thing about this particular book, it's important that this book has been written by Dr. Sahib for completely for the Muslim audience. And because of that, you will see that in this particular book, you will not find the word Imam. And Dr. Fakir Sahib has explained to us, and one of our family member, and very dear to all of us in Houston, Hazrat Alia Yasmin Nurali Mamji Sahiba. When I was discussing with her, she shared with me that in this particular book, Book of Healing, in reference to, she was referencing Dr. Fakir Sahib, that Dr. Fakir Sahib has said that in this particular book, Allama Sahib has used the word Imam once. Why he has used the Imam once? Because the focus is, and the context and the background in which this book was written was completely for the Muslim audience, a Shia and Sunni Muslim audience. And when we have to inspire particularly those individuals, those who are either Shia or Sunni Muslims, and if they want to learn about Ismaili faith, then our references will be from the Quran, totally from the Quran, and not from other resources. So that would be the basic reference, Quran and the Hadiths, hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad. So that would be just a general background of this particular book. So in reference to today's topic, which is cure for false fear, and when we look at the word fear of God, what it means to us, and what is taqwa, and taqwa, as we know, that it's a piety and doing good deeds, and when we all experience of false fear during our lifetime, right? So sometime fear of worldly problems or illness, or in reference to our health, or any problems within the family or the circumstances around us, what's going around us in the world, in our country. So that kind of fear get into our minds and our hearts, right? So so when we study this particular article, what is the definition of fear? What is the definition in reference to fear of God, and what is the definition of false fear? So if we will look into that from this particular article, and here, as you can see, that the fear of God is the real taqwa and the spirit of all worship. It is not only appropriate and important, but extremely necessary for all Muslims to have this wisdom-filled fear, right? Fear of God in this sense that we do not we do not lose the closeness of Allah, the proximity of Allah, that a Momin or a murid of the Imam does not do anything which is bad, or which is wrong, which takes that closeness from the divine, right? So that is actually real fear, in that sense that we want to come closer, and fear in the sense that we stay away from any kind of bad action, or any action which is not according to our faith. And then, of course, the fear of God brings positive effects. And in that reference, we also have this Quranic verse, which I'm sure that you have looked at it. So we can move on to the next one here. So false fear is basically fear from Allah's creatures, is actually called false fear, according to the author. In this particular article, how Allama Sahib has explained. And as we know that for something which is good will bring positive effects, and something which is not good will bring negative effects. So the some negative consequences of false fear would be psychological and mental illness, and that would also consider as a spiritual disease, according to Allama Sahib's article here. It's a spiritual disease. So how how the murid of the Imam can come out from the false fear? What would be some of the techniques, and what one should do to come out from this false fear? And we would find that answer in this particular article. So let me ask you the question here: who are those individuals who do not have false fear? And that would be Awliya, the friends of God. And friends of Allah have no fear in trials and tribulation. And this is a very good Quranic verse here. And it says, and you can read the translation here. And it says, Allah inna awliya Allahi la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. That behold, that the friends, Awliya means the friends of God. have neither fear nor do they have grief. So that is one sign of those who are the friends of God. And here you will also see another Quranic verse in which it talks about the one who has more knowledge is higher. So when we talk about fear of those who are the friends of God, their fear is not at the ordinary level. Their fear increases because of the knowledge, and that's what we have to come to that level. And here the another question is why we say that the friends of God. Why not we are using the word angels here? So here we can understand that, and Allama Sahib has explained in his bayan that because we are, if angels are there, then it would not be, we would not able to see them. But the friends of Allah, they are example for us, like the prophets and the imams, and those who come close to them, and those who obey them, they can also come into this category of friends of Allah. And so we are talking about this the angels, because we are not close, we cannot see angels, and we can see the prophets and the imams and those who are the friends of Allah. We can physically see them, and because of that, they are encouragement for us. They are for us a positive motivation. When we come across trials and tribulations, for the examples of Hazrat Yunus alayhi salam, how Hazrat Yunus, when he was trapped in the whale fish, in the stomach of whale fish, how he supplicated. So many other examples from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the examples from our own imams also. So that would be the reason. So in this particular article, that's this example is very interesting, that we see the three levels of health. That there are those people that they are always in good health, and they do not get sick, and their immunity is very strong. And then the second level is those individuals who get sick but they recover quickly, and the third one is that and they easily get sick, and it takes a long time for those individuals to recover. So with this particular example, Lama Sahib is giving the example connecting with those who there are three categories. The one is the Awliya of God, and then the next one is the Mominins with the high ambition, and those who are weak moments. So with Awliya of God, that they have no fear, and they are always in good health, and they are examples for us. And then those Mominins with a high ambition, that they have some level of fear, but they can able to overcome their fear very quickly. And then there are those mominin that they get into trapped into the false fear, and it takes long time for them to come out from that. So when you will look into that particular point, and since it's very interesting, so if I may ask friends on the call, if anyone can read this particular point number 4, if you have book in front of you. Is it possible for anyone to read point number 4?
I can read.
Yes. Do you have a book in front of you?
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm sorry. I thought
Oh,
you
no?
wanted.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So because it will take time for me to actually open from the website. So
Nachis can
uh,
read.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Point number 4, all people are not alike in facing common physical diseases. Some of them are so clean, cautious in eating and drinking, healthy and strong, with the best immunity that mostly they are not touched by sickness. They act upon every principle of sanitary science. Some others, even if they once fall sick, succeed in recovering from the sickness through medical treatment. There is a third group who easily fall sick and cannot regain health for a long time. The same is the case with the disease of false fear. That is, there are three groups of people in confronting false fear. A. Awliya of God. B. Momins with high ambition. And C. Weak momins.
Thank you, Navin Saiba. That was very beautiful. So I'm sure that this point would be now would be clear. So we can move on to this one, a method of treating physical disease, and I'm sure that many health professionals on this virtual meeting are very familiar with these two terms, allopathy and homeopathy. And as you may know that the treatment of disease by allopathy is by going through the opposite condition. And the very simple example that in a very cold, very hot weather, or in a hot temperature, a person drinks cold water or takes a bath in cold water. So that would be the example of allopathy. And then homeopathy, as you may know that the treatment is with like a similar, with the same symptom for curing to do cure of any disease. For example, just to take a very common example, I'm sure that technical example would be health professionals can able to give us good technical examples of allopathy and homeopathy here. Many friends on the call, some of them are in the medical field and they can better explain than me in reference to these examples. But just to give you the common example for homeopathy is that in a very high temperature, a person drinks hot tea or wears thick clothes so that his sweat will cool down, and is that bring a cool down in his own body. So you see this, it's or in hot weather, taking a hot tea, or so that is the same example. So with that particular example, now we can come to this point of fear. So false fear is cured by the remembrance of God, Allah's remembrance. So see, the fear is also there, but the fear here is fear of Allah. So false fear, fear of the worldly fear, but here the fear is converted into fear of God. So it's the same thing, allopathy, a same thing. So here, when you have a fear of, when you have worldly fear, or when you have false fear, you have anxiety within yourself. You feel restlessness within your own self. You feel that. So with Allah's fear, by remembrance of God, you feel peace, and it gives you a sukoon. And as Allah says in the Quran, that do hearts get satisfaction from the remembrance of Allah. Tatmainul qulub means that, satisfaction. And then with homeopathy, that false fear is cured by fear of God. So here, because the same thing is fear of God, so with allopathy, as we looked at it, that false fear is cured by remembrance of God. So it's opposite. The opposite is remembrance of God, and remembrance of God will give you sukoon, will give you peace. And here with homeopathy, the fear is converted by fear of God. So that would be the two examples in that reference. So now we look at here knowledge and recognition of God. And there are many Quranic verses here. And as we look at that, the fear of God elevated as Momin progress in gaining true knowledge. So in this particular article is also very interesting to see that Allama Sahib has explained the example of animals, that the animals also have fear, but the animals' fear, it's at the natural level. Their fear is very, very fitri, or very natural, in the sense that, for example, the deer's fear of the lions, because the reason is because they want to protect themselves from the lions, that a lion is going to attack a deer. So for that, fear is for the purpose of protection. And when we look into minerals and vegetables, we see that in mineral kingdom there is no fear. In the vegetative kingdom there is no fear, but within the animal kingdom, within the animal, we see that they have fear. And then within humans also, that human beings also have this element of fear, but we can convert this fear into the fear of God, and it will increase as our knowledge increases. As our knowledge increase, it will bring us to real level of fear. So here I quote it as Allama Sahib wrote, that as the wise Quran alludes, that people should fear God, but in the light of knowledge. For the real place of fear of God is at the height of recognition of God, marifat. That is, fear of God is among the matters of spirituality and recognition of God. And so that is also important. And then these are some of the Quranic verses which you will also find. And so we will ask this question that, when we are in any difficulty, which came naturally, natural difficulties, or we are going through trial and tribulation. So this is from Allah. And here, as this Quranic verse, as you can look here, Surah 64, Ayat 11, and in which it talks about this particular point here. And then we can also look at in Surah Baqarah, right? In Surah Baqarah, it also talks about that Allah will test us with 5 things, and within those 5 things, fear is one of that. And you may recall that in the funeral ceremony we also read this particular verse in the article, and this Quranic verse is quoted in the article. So what it means that Allah will test us through fear. This is would be a reflection question, and we all can do our personal search, and we can continue our search to find about that. So we can one explanation can be that is when we go through worldly difficulties and worldly problems, and that problems can cause us, and take us into this sense of fear, right? So in at that particular point, we turn to our zikr, we turn to Mola, we turn to Jamaat Khana for zikr, ibadat, bandagi, and that gives us peace and sukoon. So that would be one explanation, and I'm sure that we all can find many other explanation and the inner meaning in the books of our Dais in peace, how they have explained this particular Quranic verse. So this one is the Quranic reference 12 by 76 is also about that Allah increases one's rank as we progress in zikr, in ibadat and knowledge. So with that, the question is, what is the cure for the false fear? How one can get out, and what is the treatment for false fear or coffee beja? So would be remembrance of God, fear of God, and spiritual knowledge. So these three elements are very, very important. And in that reference, I would like to conclude with a farman of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, which is a very important farman, which is also about devotion to the Imam, and that will help us to cure from false fear. And before I can read that particular farman, I would also like our friends on the meeting that if anyone can read point number 11 and point number 12, because these two paragraphs are very, very significant. So if anyone else has book in front of you, or if you have article in front of you.
I have. Can I?
Yes, please.
Point number 10. There is no doubt that there are many levels of fear of God. And on the highest level, the place of spirituality, astonishing miracles of the fear of God appear. These miracles are briefly mentioned in the Holy Quran, such as cellular quakes, 2:214, awakening of half-dead or dormant cells, 39:23, remembering God with the body cells along with the heart, 39:23, word of taqwa, kalima-e-taqwa, and the function of Israel, amal-e-Israel, 48:26 and 3:143. Vision of the spirit of the Quran, 59:21. Fearing God by seeing the spirit and spirituality of the Quran, the heart reaches the throats due to the onslaught of the spiritual army. 33:10. This is also the miracle of the spiritual depth. Fearing of the heart according to the standard of spirituality, 8:2. All these are miracles of the fear of God. Point number 11. After studying the article carefully, you may be perfectly sure that the false fear is a trial as well as a spiritual disease which can be completely cured by three things: remembrance of God, fear of God, and spiritual knowledge. Remembrance of God cures. It is in the sense that in it remembrance the hearts find satisfaction miraculously. This is by Quranic ayat 13:28. Whereas false fear snatches it from the heart. Through the blessing of the fear of God, the false fear vanishes in such a way that the heart which truly fears God does not fear any creature, nor is there any place left for the fear of anybody else. It is cured through spiritual knowledge in the sense that it is in its light, it clearly becomes evident that the false fear is nothing but ignorance. Thus, the darkness of ignorance vanishes through the effulgence of the light of knowledge.
Thank you so much, Ferial Saiba. That was so beautiful reading. So here, as you can see, that it says here that basically the false fear is nothing but ignorance, and how important to gain spiritual knowledge, and through knowledge, our level of fear for God increases. And and in addition to that, that is in addition to zikr, ibadat, and remembrance and good deeds, because that is taqwa. It's all about piety and good deeds. And also in the last, in the point number 12 is also about the same, the medicine would be your medicine of ignorance is the spiritual knowledge. And remember last time we also talked about this tasbih by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. In Prophet Muhammad said about it that this particular tasbih is the treasure of paradise. So zikr, ibadat, remembrance really help all of us when we come across in the difficult times. And this is also in the prophetic tradition that which says about the two good deeds, or do nekiya, that a mu'min is always in a benefit if he is in a good condition, or he is in a condition of trial and tribulation, because any difficulty, any worldly difficulty, or any other problem, or loss of loved one, or a loss in a business, or something like that. In that situation, a murid, a mu'min connects to the imam and do supplication and do giryozari in the difficult time, and in good times also remember Mawla and engage in remembrance. So at the positive point and also in the negative, in the sense of difficulty, we always connect and keep ourselves connected with our Mawla. So in conclusion, I would read this particular firman by Imam Sultan Shah alayhi salam, and I'm sure for some of the friends may able to read Urdu. So with this firman, I would conclude. Please recite the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Hazrat Imam Aka Sultan Muhammad Shah alayhi salam ने फरमाया, ईमान दीन की बेहतरी के लिए हम तुम्हें एक बात कहते हैं जिसमें सब कुछ आ जाता है। सबसे ज़रूरी बात यह है कि माँ बाप, माल और जान से भी ज़्यादा मोहम्मद और अली के जानशीन पर अपना ईमान मजबूत रखना। अगर तुम मोहम्मद और अली की नस्ल हाजिर इमाम से प्यार रखोगे तो तुम्हें दुनिया में कोई भी डर न रहेगा। इस एक फरमान में इबादत, बंदगी और मजहब की सब खूबियां आ जाती है। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आलि मुहम्मद। दार एस सलाम, 3rd February 1937. So in this particular farman, it's Imam Sultan Shah has said that more than your parents, your wealth, your own life, just have your love, your complete submission and love for the Prophet Muhammad and his progeny, Hazrat Ali and his Al. Have the complete submission and complete love for him and for Ahle Bayt, and with that you will have no fear in this world. That if you have affection and immense love for the Imam, for the present and the living Imam, if you have the love, then that love will take away all your difficulties, all your false fear. So with that, I really thank everyone for your presence. Through that, I get spiritual help from Allah, and I hope I have helped to read this article, and I'm sure that more you will read this article, it will give you more meanings, and by the grace of Mawla, you can also able to internalize its inner meaning. And I can able to answer any question if I can. If I could not, then I will definitely try to find it for you.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah, Subhanallah. Shukran lillah walhamdulillah. Shukran lillah walhamdulillah. Beautiful way. I really enjoyed this verse which says, "It is only the devil who makes men fear his friends. Fear them not, fear me, if you are true believers." So wonderful presentation. Subhanallah, Subhanallah. Friends, if you have any questions, you can come forward and ask Riyaz Sahib.
And if anyone would like to add anything, please go ahead if you would like to add anything, or if you have understood something with additional perspective, please feel free to share.
Ji Yasmin Sahiba, go ahead. We cannot hear you.
She sent some text messages that she cannot talk.
Yeah, the message, she said, please explain Chandra is important. I'm not sure if she meant,
She says first slide.
that's another person for the first slide. So Yasmin Saiba, if you can send me the question directly, or I'm not sure what you're meaning by Chandra is important. Is it Chandra it's important you're saying maybe? And then iPad is requesting if you can show the first slide one more time, please.
Sure. While you are looking at this slide, so thank you, Scholar Khayal Ali, for mentioning that. Yes, that was Bustan Hirji. She has implemented many of the articles from this book.
Riyaz Saib, now you should be able to show the first slide.
Okay, is it you can see that, or?
No, we
Oh,
cannot.
okay. I think I just stopped the share.
Any other friends, if you have any questions, please come forward.
You can see that?
Gee, we can see it now.
Okay.
Okay, there is a question. One of the friend, Salma, is asking why there is fear of death.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, that's, I was also thinking about that to bring that question up. And so for that, this element of knowledge is very important, the spiritual knowledge. So as we have more knowledge, and, we think, as, Imam Sultan Shah said, for a moment, that is a day of Eid, day of happiness. And in another, there's a hadith also in which Prophet said that that is a bouquet of flower for a moment. And so more we get knowledge, and we engage ourselves in zikr and remembrance, then we get into this positivity that this is a day of connection with the Imam, with his noor, going into that spiritual life which is eternal. So we for that we have to do self-talk to our own selves. If someone is in that situation, then that person should do self-talk, and then read more literature, Ismaili literature, and zikr and remembrance, and that type of that will bring that positive approach. And also I wanted to quote that Quranic reference, that this false fear also comes from nafse amara, and amara means bahut zyada hukum karne wala, to do more command, to do something bad. And in that reference, I'm sure some of you may know this Quranic verse, surah number 43, ayat number 36, which I would paraphrase, in which Allah says that one who is devoid of Allah's remembrance, Allah appointed devil for that person who become his or her companion. So that would be one thing in recalling Imam's Farman, Maulana Hazi Imam's Faramin, about that Imam's blessing is with us, and Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's Faramin, that Imam in one Farman, Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah said that you are not only with me in this physical world, but also in the spiritual world. So that would help. And of course, our allegiance to the Imam until our last breath, that all will always take us away from the physical fear of physical death.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. There is another question of a friend. Actually, two friends have asking similar question. I will combine both the questions. Please explain allopathy and homeopathy in spiritual aspect. I did not quite understand the slide on allopathy and homeopathy. What is better, the remembrance of Allah or fear of Allah?
Okay, so for that one, so they both are equally important. So here, if I can, bring that slide, right? So you would say that one it complements each other, in that sense that both are simultaneously connected. So through remembrance of God, through remembrance of Mawla, you would feel satisfaction, you would feel sukoon within yourself. So that would be the example of allopathy, right? For example, when you are in any kind of false fear, then you have anxiety, or you feel that you are not feeling very peaceful. So in that situation, remembrance of Allah, or the zikr would help you at the that will take you to the next step. Then the next step is that take you to the fear of God. So basically they are connected in that sense, that that is the treatment for your false fear, and it's connected with zikr, ibadat, and everything. It's connected with that. So I hope that will be clear.
Shukr li Allah. If it's not clear, please friends come forward and ask.
So like, for example, in homeopathy, that you take this, it's the example of like similar things, right? So similar things in that sense that, fear, false fear, and then fear of God. So, both things are familiar, both things are same in reference to the word fear, right? But one is the false fear, which is replaced by the fear of God. And then in allopathy, you are in stress, or you are in anxiety, or you are in restlessness, right? That would be cured by the remembrance of God, by the remembrance of Mawla. Remembrance of Allah brings peace within your minds, within your hearts. As the Quran says, do hearts get satisfaction from the remembrance of Allah?
Subhanallah, subhanallah. There is one follow-up question. If you say mental issues are spiritual disease, then how can they be overcome? If, say, the person has high spiritual awareness and the imam, but still if they have that spiritual disease, how do they overcome it?
So the question is, what is the question about you mean
Yeah, if
mental
you
illness?
if you say that mental issues are spiritual diseases, right? Like anxiety, and you mentioned, so like if these are spiritual diseases, then how can they be overcome?
Okay, how they can be overcome, right? Okay. So if we can look into that is, definitely what in the medical term, right? If someone is in depression, or definitely we have to go through the medical process, how it is. And in addition to medical treatment, prayers are also important. As you know, we say that dua and dawa, they both are equally important. And we should not deny the medical treatment and oneself to keep oneself mentally in a good health. Mental good health is also important. Therefore, we have many Jamaati programs. And for that, so in addition to medical treatment, the another point is to gain spiritual health, right? Good spiritual health. And good spiritual health comes through following Imam's faramis and engaging oneself in zikr, ibadat, and going and be regular in the Jamaat Khana attendance, and our spiritual and our Jamaati obligations, and our the son sukrit, which we do that. So that is important. Therefore, Imam Sultan Shah said that we are here from this seventh heaven. We are here in this physical world for your salvation. And I'm just paraphrasing that farman, which is in, I have learned it in Urdu, that Imam said कि हम सातवें आसमान से तुम्हारी रूह की निजात के लिए आए हैं, हम तुम्हारी रूह के डॉक्टर हैं. So Imam is our spiritual doctor. So therefore, to study the Ginans and Anantakhado and many other Ginans, we recite when we feel that we are not feeling well. So take benefit from that. And one thing is that you can also see some of the videos of Maulana Hazri Imam's Didar videos, which we have on our Jamaati websites, like a video from India Didar and the USA Didar, and also Dubai and many others. So that will give us the feeling of spiritual joy, feeling of connection with the Imam and the Faramin of the Imam, that Imam said that I'm always with you. Imam said day, night, in every season. And in the Ginan, he said that, jiskari sahib aisa hove, so dukhya kyun kar kahave. So these things will, help for our spiritual health.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. Beautiful connection with the Sultan Muhammad Shah's Farman. It was amazing. Shukr, alhamdulillah. Friends, if you have any more questions, please come forward and ask. If there are no questions, then we can end the session here. And we thank you so much for Riyaz Sahib to always come forward for these wonderful sessions and the beautiful topics to increase in our knowledge. And, it's a wonderful way for all of us to connect, read the chapters. And inshallah, there are a lot of volunteers who are actually reciting the chapters beforehand, and we're posting the recordings. If you have not listened it, you can listen to the recording again. And Riyaz Sahib's recording will be posted also. So if you, are not on the WhatsApp group, please go ahead and send me a message, and I can definitely add you in the group. And Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Riyaz Saib. Ya Ali Madad. All friends, Ya Ali Madad.
Ya Ali Madad.
Thank you,
Mulali.
Thank you, Madad.
Yali
Mulali.
Madad. Thank you so much. Yali Madad.
Mulali.
Thank you, Yani Madad, Riyaz sir. Thank you, Naveen Saiban.
Mulali Madad.
Thank you so much. Allah bless you.
Ameen.
Ameen. Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad, friends.
Yali Madad sir, Yali Madad Nevin Appa.
Ya Ali Madad.
Mulali.